Welcome to the BCCA General Business Meeting and Awards Virtual CANvention 2020. Appreciate having you all here on Blue Jeans and also all of you who are out there watching us on Facebook Live. Hope you enjoy this presentation. Any of you who are on Blue Jeans, please keep your mics muted at all times. That would be very appreciated. And I do hope during our break you all enjoyed your steak and lobster dinners. It was really great. I was sure Beer Dave was planning that for CANvention, so I just thought we'd have to have it for sure. I would like yes. At this time, I would ask for a motion to follow the printed agenda. Can I get that motion?
I'll make that motion, Beer Dave.
Mike England will second that motion.
Thank you much. We will try our best to follow the printed agenda. First up,
Paula,
yes.
Don't forget to take the vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. How do I take the vote with live?
The same way you always have. All in favor.
All in favor. Raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Very good. Okay. Motion passed unanimously. Thank you, Bruce. Secretary Don Hardy, would you give your report for the meetings and accomplishments? Don, you are muted.
Well, see, I did what you said. I was muted when I'm not talking. How'd you know I was muted? My lips were moving?
Yes.
All right. First of all, let's go over the officers and the board members this year. It was kind of a bizarre year, as we all know. For the attendance, all the officers had 100% attendance for each one of the meetings, and all but one board member made every meeting for the board. And that was one person back in March that missed. But besides that, we all had everybody. We weren't exactly at the start, but as the meeting went on, we had everybody in attendance. Right? And some of the accomplishments we had this year, we had the Wikipedia page with help from Charlie Smith, and I believe Pat Porter did a lot of that also. The BCCA YouTube page, Keith Kirshner did the majority of the work on that. We had a nice video with showing, a bunch of things. The 85 years of canned beer was also another video that Keith helped in on that. There was also a bunch of chapters that did things for the 85th anniversary back in January. Another accomplishment we had this year was the operations manual update. Tom Legere took control of that and did a fine job. That was a lot of work. And the BCCA magazines were copied and put on the web page, and that was quite a project too. That was Pat Porter, Clayton, Mike Newton, and Cheryl to help load them up. And that was quite a project. And it is really cool to go back and look at those. It's quite interesting. And that's all I have for what we had, unless you had something else you wanted to add, Paula.
Nope, I think that's good. I think we did well with the COVID and managed to get all of our meetings in and have a great attendance. And
not to mention another who knows how many side meetings we had with Blue Jeans. It was a crazy year. I lost track of how many actual meetings we had.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Don. Keith, would you like to do the chapters at this time?
I would, if Mr. Mike England could load up the slides. So as everybody knows, every year we do the chapter milestones and celebrate those chapters that are celebrating a 5-year anniversary for their active participation in the BCCA chapters. And we have quite a few this year. And then, Mike, if you could go to 45 years. So there we are with 45 years. We have the Simon Pure, the Congress, the Cornhuskers, the Bullfrog, Big Beer Brotherhood, Keystone, A1 Chapter, Garden State, and Mardi Gras, all joining 45 years ago. That was obviously a strong year with the BCCA, fairly new to being stood up, and the chapters was an active time at that time. Go to the next one, Mike. Celebrating 35 years is, and I'm going to pronounce it wrong, and I asked to help to get it pronounced, so it's the Lafroire, and I'm sure I've got it wrong, but they're celebrating 35 years. Next one, Mike.
Lafroig.
Lafroig. I apologize for that pronunciation. Celebrating 30 years is One Can, One Country, and the Skedder folks. If you can imagine the Skedder folks 30 years ago were already looking at what was in the sports schedules for the Brewery stuff and actually forming a chapter at that time. Next slide, please. And celebrating 15 years is the IBC. And that is all for the chapter milestones. So the next item is the chapter newsletters. And I just wanted to report that we were very impressed with the amount of chapters that submitted newsletters for the newsletter contest this year. A total of 10 small regional chapters, 13 large regional chapters, and 5 at-large chapters, for a total of 28 chapters submitted newsletters to compete in the BCCA newsletter contest. So right now, what we also did during this past year was we increased the amount of prizes that the BCCA gives out. So this year, first place will be $50, second place will be $35, and third place will be $15. So Mike, if you would go to the next slide. So as you can see, for the small chapters newsletters, first place was Miami Valley, second place was the Mile High, and the third place was the Trillium. Next slide. For the large chapter newsletters, first was Michigan, second was the Packer chapter, and then we had a tie. With the judges that I had, it was actually a pretty tight give or take on points, and it pretty much came down to a tie between the Rainier and the Columbine chapters for third place. So they'll both get a certificate. Next slide. So the at-large chapters newsletters, first place was Rusty Bunch, second place was CBCC, and then OCOC was third place for the awards for the at-large chapters. Next slide. Oh, I thought there was the honorable mention one. I don't know what happened to that slide there, Mike. Sorry about that. So the one that was missing was the honorable mention one, and that was actually for the Brazil chapter. So I got the Brazil chapter newsletter from their new editor late before I could get it out to any of the judges. But the other problem is that, as many may or may not know, their newsletter is in Portuguese. So it'll be real hard for the judges to try to actually look at content and fairly judge their newsletter on a fair basis. So they were my honorable mention for this year, and I'm actually going to donate $50 for them as a prize because of the newsletter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work out with them an opportunity to maybe post some of their newsletters up after I've already translated them for everybody in English, so you can see how good these newsletters are from the Brazil chapter. It's pretty amazing, some of the historical stuff in it. And that's all I have for the chapters.
Thank you so much, Keith. Don, do you want to let the chapters know how we're going to be doing their renewals this year?
Well, we'll do it on a website, I was told, and we'll also have the form that I will contact all the chapter presidents with.
Very good. So we highly recommend that you go to the website to renew your chapters, and you will receive an email first before any chapter renewals will be mailed. Mike, we're going to go into Remembrances now, so if you would bring that slide up. Raleigh Douglas was not able to get a video done in time, so that video will be shown next year at our CANvention in St. Louis. And this year we are just going to do a rolling slide view of all of the people who have passed from us. So we'll take a moment of silence while this slide is up. Thank you. You probably noticed there were quite a few names there. I believe we lost 38 members this past year. Jim Tolley, we will go into finances at this time.
Okay, thank you, Paula. Some good news first. When was the last time we had an increase in membership? The answer to the question is 2012. But we did actually have an increase this year of 9, not a whole bunch, but at least it's an increase and not a continual slide like we've been experiencing recently. So that was it. We were off to a good start. I hate to think, though, that going back to that list of the remembrances, what the devastating effect of those 38 will have on next year, but let's not focus on that yet. So speaking to our regular operating fund, not the CANvention fund or special reserve, et cetera, we actually did have a pretty good year. Both our revenues and our expenses were below budget, but our expenses were more below budget than our revenues. So we really did have a fairly good year. Would have been a pretty good year with business as usual, but 2020, as you know, has been anything but business as usual. What's going to hurt us is the lost sales of can totes and supply items that we would have had at all the shows, particularly our big show, which would have been now. And the sales at the CANvention typically contributes quite a bit to the overall sales of those items. So we're going to miss that. And then in addition, the CANvention fund actually pays for some of the pages in the magazine, the cost for the pages that they use for their marketing and the coverage, and we're not going to have that either. So the combination of lost revenue related to these shows and the CANvention will probably hurt us to about $12,000 to $15,000, believe it or not. That causes us to be below budget by about that amount. We actually were budgeting a small loss to begin with, so our total loss for the year, I would guess now, would probably be about $20,000. But we'll end on a good note. We actually brought in a carryover balance from last year. At the end of last year, we brought in $40,000 balance carryover. We're going to use half of that, so we got it covered. We got the loss covered. And in fact, do I even dare say this, we could actually take another year like this if we actually had to, if the COVID thing extends all the way through next year and we still have these same restrictions as Dr. Fauci is predicting. So financially speaking, as you've seen a lot of signs say during this pandemic time, we'll get through this, okay? We'll make it. Not a problem, I don't think. So any questions about the financial status? Okay, that's it. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you, Jim. And we're so happy to see you. Next up, Beer Dave, CANvention.
Hi, Paula. Thanks. We finally made it to the general business meeting. All right. CANvention's rolling right along. First, I've got some totals. Tables sold on the trade floor, 0. International attendees, 0.
Actually, we have Keith here.
Right. Exactly. That's right. That's right. One. We have one attendee from attending international.
Oh, and actually, if you think about tables, during Thursday and Friday, we actually had 77 rooms opened for our virtual CANvention.
All right. See, so we did have some good numbers to report. Mark Crane didn't get me all the numbers in time prior to the meeting, so
Okay.
the registration desk has been a mess this whole year. So, all right. So the big news is we have signed contracts now for 2021, and we are going to be holding CANvention 50 in St. Louis at the Grand Marriott the week of starting on Sunday, August the 15th through Sunday, August the 22nd. The earliest we've ever held a CANvention, according to Jim Foley, which is surprising. But after this year, we're probably so anxious to finally have CANvention. We're okay if it's early next year, just to finally all get together again from that standpoint. So room rates will be $133. It went up $3, but one of the concessions that we were able to get the hotel to agree upon is we were able to get a much larger block. So we're really comfortable that we think that we can get everybody in the main hotel for next year. We will contract with the Magnolia as an overflow hotel. We haven't accomplished that yet, but that'll be coming. But and parking will remain at $18, and it's valet parking only because of the egress of how you enter the hotel. So we're pretty excited to finally get all this done, get extra rooms and everything. We are working on constructing an e-blast that'll go out early this coming week. And what I tell everybody is the only way you can book your room is by clicking on the link in the e-blast and following along the prompts there to book your room with your credit card. You cannot call the hotel. You can't call the Marriott 800 number. They're just not ready and set up to be able to handle us for this. So you need to click on the link. And if you have somebody that's not electronically available to do all of this and capable of it, help them out. Give them a call and maybe work them through using their credit card and that, but get them set up that way, because there's just not going to be another way. If you choose to call the hotel or go through the 800 number or something, you're probably not going to like your results. But if you do have trouble with any of your reservations and that, I do ask, please contact me so that I can get them resolved. Because during the pandemic, there's probably about 3 people working at the Marriott. So there's not a lot of people, but I know how to reach them. I've got cell numbers and good email addresses and all of that. So I can get you answers. So don't resort to Facebook to try and get results. Please contact the CANvention committee so we can get you results if you have any difficulties. But the CANvention committee, we did a dry run last week, and we were all able to book our rooms with no problems. Couldn't have been any smoother. And all we did was we followed the link. So if everyone else will do the same, it should be a seamless operation from that standpoint. And then I also made mention earlier today at the board meeting that now that we have a signed contract for 2021, we will start looking at where we're going to go for 2022, be it Atlantic City or Norfolk, Virginia. We'll look at those properties and proposals and start to negotiate with them in the next couple of weeks. We'll get started and figure out where we're going to go and what makes sense. And with that, that's really all I have, unless anyone has any questions.
I thank you so very much, Beer Dave. And again, wait for the e-blast to come out next week before you try making any reservations. At this time, I'll move into new business. Do we have any new business? Okay, with no new business, we will move on to pretty much our awards ceremony. At this time, I would like to thank all of my officers, Keith and Don, for putting up with me this entire year, my board members who attended wonderfully with all the virtual meetings. My committee chairs who worked hard to get those 9 members extra this year, and to my business operations people for all the work and support that you did this year. Even though it's been virtual, it's still been a great year, I think, for the BCCA. So at this time, I do want to introduce Keith Kirshner, my Vice President, Don Hardy, my Secretary-Treasurer. Keith is VP Treasurer. The board members for 2020, whose terms will be ending this year, are Cheryl Boyles, Clayton Emery, Tom Fay, Dave Gospel, and Jody Otto. Board members whose terms continue until 2021 are John Finan, Frank Crone, Mike Newton, and Scott Oglesby. The incoming board members, those who are running for the board this year, are okay. We're having just a little technical.
This helps with the suspense.
Yes, it does. Totally with the suspense.
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll. Don't have that list in front of me.
Yeah, hold on a second. I apparently
Okay.
lost the slide.
Okay.
You play the Jeopardy music.
Oh, yes. Well, we should have Claire. She could play the polka.
There you go.
And I will let you all know, when we went through this twice already, we had no glitches at all. So, of course, now that we're Facebook Live, we're going to have a little glitch here.
Hey, Paula, while we're waiting for Mike to load up the slides, I
Sure.
just thought I'd let everybody know that we have 27 people up in Blue Jeans, and we have 39 watching Facebook Live.
Very good. Thank you for those numbers. Okay, board member candidates are Clayton Emery, Marjay Elm, Stephen Miner, Jody Otto, Beer Dave Gospel, Carrie Williams, and Tom Twilliger. And the winners are, the inductees, I guess I should say, are
I have to switch programs just a second.
that's okay. This is just like a real CANvention. And the board members are Carrie Williams, Tom Twilliger, Beer Dave Gospel, and Stephen Miner. And congratulations to all of you, and congratulations for being on the board. And thank you all for running this year for the board of directors. It's greatly appreciated. Cheryl did a great job with having 7 people running. It's been a long time since we've had that many people run for the board. Super job, Cheryl. We now can bring up the slides for the Andrews Butterball Editorial Excellence Award. The Special Editors Award goes to Rich LaSouza, BCCA Memorable Moments, multi-part article. And it's my understanding that Rich will be continuing this through the coming year also. Third place bronze award goes to Kevin Caius and Don Roysan, the Falstaff Brewing Corporation, Stifel St. Louis Breweries. Second place silver award goes to Brad Flinders, Stubbies, Steinies, and Indy in R's. First place gold award goes to Ed Wizerbinsky, Understanding Zip Tops. Congratulations to all of you. It's a lot of work putting something like this together. I know just after having to do the president's messages, it takes a little bit of time to put together an article. And thank you all for all your time, and thank you much for doing this. Before we go into the awards for the Can of the Years, Robert Fondren asked me to thank the more than 400 members who voted for the Can of Year Hall of Fame. That is definitely up from last year, and the two winners for the $40 gift certificates, these names were drawn at random. Anyone who voted goes to Raymond Kochek, BCCA number 19762, and Leo Matonis, BCCA number 28178. You will be receiving a $40 gift certificate for having voted for the Can of the Year Hall of Fame. And now the winner of, I believe the international is first. Yes, the U.S. and International Aluminum Bottle is Redbird Lager, Four Peaks Brewing Company, Tempe, Arizona. Can of the Year, Mosk Brew Brewery, Moscow, Russia. United States Can of the Year, Afterglow, Rusty Rail Brewing Company, Mifflinburg, Pennsylvania. And Hall of Fame nominee are Robert Fondren, 14138. Jim Friesen, number 23902. Don Hardy, 3648. Kevin Caius, 29100F. And the inductees are, forgot one, Greg Lenahan, 14138. Congratulations to Robert Fondren, number 14138. And to Don Hardy, number 3648. And to Kevin Caius, number 29100F. Veterans Commission Hall of Fame inductee for 2020 is Jack McDougall, number 12357. Congratulations to all our winners. Okay, at this time, just let me get my notes here. The Don Hicks Presidential Award is up next. This year's Don Hicks Presidential Award will be given to two deserving BCCA members. They both joined the BCCA in the mid-70s and have been active in their local chapters for many years. They've both gone through the chairs and served as past president and are still very active on the nominating committee. This year, they both took on a very time-consuming task that will aid the BCCA and the members of the club for many, many years to come, I do believe. So this year's winners of the Don Hicks Presidential Award are Tom Legeray and Bill Boyles. Thank you both so very much for all your help, all the wonderful work you've done, and I know you'll continue to be active in the BCCA. I wish I could just give you both a big hug. Thank you much. At this time, I would just like to let you know who the officers, well, you already know, but Mike Newton will be secretary for 2021. He is our new incoming. There's Mike. You want to say hi, Mike? Okay.
Hello,
Don.
sorry, I had to hit the button to unmute. Hello, everyone. Thank you.
Don Hardy will be vice president, treasurer next year.
Oh,
And Keith Kushner, I'm passing the gavel to you. You will be our new president. And he has his gavel already.
I officially have.
Congratulations to all of you. And this time I'm going to turn it over to Keith.
Well, Paula, thank you very much. As you realize, you've had a pretty rough year trying to transition through this. I greatly appreciate everything you've done for the BCCA. It was a difficult time, but being able to do it virtually shows that we can adapt and overcome, and you did just that. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate your mentorship and guidance going through so that I can move forward in the position of president and feel pretty comfortable. So thank you so much for that. I look forward to working with all of the officers, obviously Don and Mike, as well as the other board of directors members. Welcome aboard those that just recently got selected. I'll be reaching out to everybody at the earliest convenience and welcoming them on board and letting them know where I kind of want to go. I look forward to supporting the BCCA members and doing what we can to try to make sure that the BCCA is there for them. And then just a quick heads up, there will be a social media survey coming out here next week sometime to give members an opportunity to provide us information on how they can best reach out to the BCCA, and we can make sure that they are getting information. That's all I've got at this time, Paula, and unless there's any other business, I'd like to call for an adjournment.
Very good.
Before the adjournment,
Yeah.
I have a slide that I missed. So
Okay.
I'll pop that up. Honorable mention for Brazil in the newsletter contest.
Yeah, I knew you had a mic, so I appreciate you putting that all together. So like I said, I really kind of felt bad because they couldn't compete effectively in the newsletter contest. So I'm going to donate them a $50 gift certificate from the BCCA since their newsletter really, once I translated and read it, it really turned out pretty fantastic. Thanks.
And I will just add at this time also that all awards will be mailed out, I believe, to the recipients, and the chapter newsletter certificates will be mailed out to the chapter milestones this year. Otherwise, you.
Joe Germino, I'm sorry, one new business, 24997. Could we please post the presentation on the website so people can view everything?
Yes, that will be done immediately after.
Okay.
I would hope that we'll have it up by tomorrow sometime so that all the
Okay.
members can see it.
And Joe, I'll also be posting it to the BCCA YouTube channel just in case somebody happens to go across that way as well.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Right.
I'll make the motion.
Beer Dave made a motion to adjourn the meeting. Can I have a second?
Joe Germino, 24997, second it.
Okay. All in favor?
aye.
Thank you for, very good. Thank you for attending and have a great day.
One last screen.
Yes. Okay. Very good, Mike. Very good.
Don't forget the Rusty Bunch show tonight.
Oh yeah, more virtual can selling and buying. Awesome.
Meeting is adjourned.